What's up, everyone? Welcome to yet another episode of SDGC. It's Thursday, May 27th. As you can see here...
God, that's weird. I feel like it was just January.
I know, it's really fucked up. It's really fucked up. As you can see here, we have a very cool new animated background floating around.
Do we?
We do, actually, Britt. You should go to the Twitch channel and check it out. It's a very... It's even got our colors. I set it up today. Like I said, we are toying with new looks here. So please pardon our mess, but I think it looks pretty good. I'm gonna move this down.
It looks like the PS3 background.
A little bit. but you know, it's a start. It's a start. We are playing with shit and trying to make shit look a little more updated around here. But you know, this is normally when we launch into what we've been playing.
Oh,
right?
It does. It does look like the PS3 background.
Actually, it's normally when we start talking about food.
Well, you know what? I did have some delicious tortellini with pesto and garlic tonight. It was really, really fucking good.
That actually sounds really
good. It was
good.
fucking fantastic. I put a little shredded aged Parmesan on there. And it was real fucking good. I knew I was going to be drinking a nice high alcohol IPA tonight, but a nice glass of wine would have gone really good with it. And speaking of IPA, I'm drinking.
So hold on, John. I just want to clarify. So you like IPAs?
I love IPAs.
I do too, but everyone hates IPAs.
Not me, dude. Okay. I love IPA. I love the hoppiness.
Because the hipster people just like to hate on it because it's like the hipster thing to do.
I mean, I like it because it tastes good.
Yeah.
And I am drinking Three Floyd's Zombie Dust, which is out of Illinois. And for years and years and years, this stuff was hard to fucking find, like hard as shit to fucking find. And now they have finally gotten enough capital to where they can put this stuff all over the country. So this used to be like one of the holy grails of IPAs, and now it's fucking everywhere. But yeah, people in chat are already like, yeah, Zombie Dust is fucking awesome. Absolutely. What are we all drinking? Jeff, what are you drinking? What do you got?
Just my usual bourbon.
What's the brand, Jeff? What's the brand?
Bullet.
Bullet. Okay, can you tell me about the notes? I've never had Bullet.
Look, John, I'm a simple man. There's two types of wine, red and white.
Is it bottom shelf or top shelf bourbon?
Oh, Bullet is bottom shelf.
So when I go into the liquor store, I think there's 5 shelves, and I grab it from the second one from the bottom.
Bullet is so. Oh, Britt. Speaking as somebody who was a bartender in college, like when somebody came in and ordered Bullet, I was like, "It's gonna be one of those nights, isn't it?" Like,
I mean, it's the most expensive one in the store. So
yeah, I mean, you know, somebody said Bullet is mainly maple and oak. But I also agree with somebody who said sour beer is the best. Absolutely, fucking love a good IPA. So normally, Jeff's right. This is where we talk about food for 30 minutes on this video game podcast, right? But
we have a lot to talk about. That
I was just gonna say, Britt, like we have so much to fucking talk about that I feel like we can't even talk about what we've been playing. Because I mean, guys, I think it's fair to say that E3 has begun. Like E3 season is here. Like holy,
which is weird because usually it's like all next week, right? Like June, beginning of June, because it's always around my birthday.
Everything fucking dropped today. Well, not everything, but a ton of shit dropped late last night and today. And apparently, we are actually going to get a Switch Pro announcement between now and sometime next week.
Oh my god!
I mean,
I couldn't tell you how much I don't give a shit about a Switch Pro launch date.
You don't want to play.
I am like stressing the fuck out. I need to get my OG Switch wiped. I need to get Animal Crossing backed up. I have to get down to an EB Games and trade this thing in before its value tanks.
I don't think you can transfer Animal Crossing save data, can you?
You can.
Oh, I thought you couldn't do that. I know you can't do it with Pokemon,
it's very confusing.
Pokemon Sword.
We had to talk about it in the Discord. You can do it, but like when you look it up on their site, like here's how to transfer your Animal Crossing data. It says you can only do it if you lose or damage your Switch. And I'm like, it's not lost. I'm not damaging it. I just want to buy a new one. So I contacted Nintendo support and explained everything and was like, I have this OG piece of shit Switch and I want the new hotness. Like, can I just move my Animal Crossing save? Like, what do I have to do? What's the process? And they're like, oh, you just back it up. Like, they made it sound, they're like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Like, just back it up to the cloud and re-download. But like, their website has like a whole bunch of confusing shit. Like, you know, you have to contact Nintendo support and you can only do it in certain circumstances. I'm like, okay, as long as it works. Because if I lose my Animal Crossing save data, I am fucking tossing this thing out a window and I'm never buying anything from Nintendo again. I swear to God. That's not hyperbole. I will never even talk about Nintendo
I don't
again.
believe you, because when the next Animal Crossing comes out, you're going to forget you ever fucking said that.
Absolutely not.
Oh,
never
right.
again.
Yeah, or when
Never
they say
again.
that Microsoft Flight Simulator is coming to Nintendo Switch Pro 2, like you'll run out and buy it. You'll run out and buy it. I know you will. So aside from the Switch Pro, which we know is a thing, but we there's not a whole lot to say about it other than a bunch of people were swearing up and down it was going to be announced today. Obviously, that didn't happen, but I've heard from
Is it just because there was a Bloomberg article today?
Probably.
And then all of a sudden they thought it was going to be announced today?
Yeah, well, at this point we know it's coming. Like, there's too much fun. Like, I'm choking on the fucking smoke from this fire. It's just a matter of when. So, and I've had a bunch of people tell me it'll be between like now and sometime within the next few days, next week.
I could be wrong. I thought the article actually said that they're under pressure to get it out before E3 because some companies want to talk about it and show their Switch Pro stuff off during E3 week. So I mean, you know, if you do the math,
that's why. And that's exactly the reason why is because there's going to be a bunch of third-party devs at Nintendo's E3 presentation, and they want to show off the power of the Switch Pro, which is apparently in handheld a 7-inch screen, which means that that's a bigger handheld screen than the Switch we have now. At 7 inches, it essentially means it gets rid of the bezel around the edges. This is all screen.
What'd you call it?
A bezel.
Is that how you pronounce it?
I thought so. I might be wrong.
Bezel.
Is it bezel? I don't know. We're gonna let chat. Is it bezel? Is it bezel or? It's not, Jeff. Oh.
No, I'm wrong.
Oh, Jeff is right. Oh, Jeff is right. It's bezel.
Hey, Rar's
bezel.
It does not help me, Rar, that you just
yeah, like that's Rar. What are you doing, man? Like that doesn't fucking help us at all. Like, Jeff, I would have thought that you would have said bezel because, like, you know, you're up in Canada and you know. A lot of people in Canada speak French.
La bezel.
La bezel.
I don't speak French.
Bezel. Okay, so it's a bezel. It's a bezel. Okay. It's a bezel bub.
Instead of talking about food for 30 minutes, we're going to talk about how to pronounce this fucking word.
Bezel. But in handheld, it's apparently a nice, crisp 720p, and docked, it's 4K DLSS. So. You know, like I don't think that. In a lot of the discourse today has been about whether or not we're going to see Switch Pro exclusive games, which I can assure you right now we won't. Because they're not going to alienate the fucking 80 million people or something that own a Switch right now or a Switch Lite. Like that's not going to fucking happen. Although I do think this is intended to phase out the original model. That's
what the Bloomberg article said. Yeah.
Yeah.
The $299 regular Switch is going to go away. It'll be replaced by this, and then it'll just be this new one.
Yep. And the Switch Lite.
The Switch Lite.
Right.
Yeah.
And that, you know, honestly, I think going forward, like, I've got a prediction here. I don't think we're going to, like, Nintendo is now locked into the hybrid console, right? Like there's no going back for them. They cannot go back to having a stationary, you know, TV only console and then like a separate line of handhelds. Those days are done for them.
Well, I mean, it's Nintendo.
It's Nintendo. So what? But
who fucking knows? I know they're.
Well,
the new Switch will be hybrid still.
All right. So let me say this then.
Who the fuck knows?
By conventional wisdom, if we're looking at this from conventional wisdom, then they are not. Then they are locked into the hybrid console format. I guess if you're looking at this from Nintendo logic, they can fucking do anything. But go ahead.
I think just in general, that's where video games are trending towards now because you got Game Pass on your cell phone.
Yep.
Sony's gonna do something to catch up eventually, and Nintendo's already there with their being able to dock and undock your Switch. And I imagine that especially has to be popular for younger kids and like things like Fortnite and Minecraft and like that kind of thing that they can play online with their friends. So I think while it's Nintendo, I could absolutely see them just throwing it to the wind because it's fucking Nintendo.
Yeah.
But I don't see how that's beneficial, just seeing how like the industry is trending.
And
like, the best part about the hybrid approach is we always had, there was always this like disparity. Like they had their 3DS developers and their 3DS games and then their console ones, and like they weren't able to kind of get like, they couldn't hit both of them at the same time. They constantly had to find that balance. But now you can have the TV console and the portable thing, and you could push out, all your resources and all your developers just to develop for one platform. I don't see why you would want to move back away from that and say, okay, now, all of a sudden this team, you guys have got to do the mobile stuff, and you can't, you're splitting your base so hard, and it just doesn't seem necessary at this point.
Yeah.
So, that's really all there is to say right now, I think, about the Switch Pro. But although, like, I really do, like, I don't think they're going to call it the Switch Pro, right? I think that's a stupid name, especially since we already have a Switch Pro controller. So
I think it's actually a good name. I think the stupid name is what it's going to be called, which is like the new Nintendo Switch.
No, I think they should call it the Super Nintendo Switch.
Nintendo Switch SX.
What if they call what if they call it the Switch NX? Like that would be some shit right there. But no, I think they should call it the Super Nintendo Switch. I think that's the most. Yeah. I think that's the most logical name. I think it flows right off the tongue. It is relevant to their history, which is why they won't fucking do it. Blaine, if they call it the Switch Next, I will throw my Switch in the garbage. I'm Switch. Fuck that. I hate God. Switch you.
I like Switch you.
What if they call it the Switch?
It's like Pikachu, but Switch you.
What if they call it the Switch, but with two eyes? The Switch. Like what if they the Nintendo Switch?
It just sounds like you're saying Weege.
The Switch. The Nintendo Switch.
That's it. I love Switch. That's the winner in my book.
The Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch U. The successor is the Nintendo Switch U. Okay, so I wanted to retweet the podcast again real quick. So we are going to jump right into everything we know about what's coming up. There have been a ton of leaks over the past week. And we're going to start with Final Fantasy. And this is something that Jeff was actually, Brittany, unaware of. So it is really all but confirmed that we are getting a brand new PlayStation 5 exclusive Final Fantasy game, which is from being developed by Team Ninja, who are the ones behind Neo and Neo 2.
What else did they do? Because I always get them mixed up with Ninja Theory. Like totally different. Did Team Ninja are they the ones that did Heavenly Sword, or was that Ninja Theory?
No, I think Ninja Theory was the one that did. I mean, the names are very confusing.
Which one is the one that does Ninja Gaiden and Dead or Alive?
That's Team Ninja. Shit? That's Team Ninja. No, wait, that's Ninja. Is that Ninja Theory? Whatever. See, this is the fucking problem with having these names suck. So Team Ninja actually worked on Metroid Other M, so that sucks.
Okay,
but
Team Ninja of Other M fame.
I mean, come on, let's face it. Other M is garbage. That game sucked. I'm sorry to the 3 people who liked Other M.
I have a shirt from when I demoed it at PAX.
Okay, so Ninja Gaiden and Dead or Alive is Team Ninja. It looks like, right?
Is that the fighting game or is that the volleyball game?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's what has me worried.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah. So now I'm thinking about
Team
fucking
Ninja
Other M.
Ultimate Alliance 3. Is that the one that was on Switch?
Yes, that's actually a good game.
Okay.
So, but
they're just a mixed fucking bag. Like,
well, I mean, the Neo games were fucking great.
It's like 50-50. This could either be fucking
So here's the thing.
Really good or just terrible?
So Neo and Neo 2 are really good games, right? Brittany, I saw your kid in the background and he scared the shit out of me. I thought there was a fucking ghost in your house. Like that creeped me the fuck out.
He just yeeted himself. I'm like, oh my god.
That was scary. I thought there was a face looking in that glass door behind you for a second. I was like, oh god, there's a fucking killer behind Brittany.
First, Beignet fucking yeets himself inside, and then my son yeets himself on the couch.
So Jeff,
it looks like he just cannonballed.
Yeah, he's just throwing himself around in the background.
God.
I could see his feet flapping around.
I'll be right back.
No, it's fine, dude. It's fine. Okay, but
I gotta get coffee.
All right, fine.
Okay.
Poor Brit. A kid is just throwing himself around in the background. So Jeff, let me tell you a little bit about Final Fantasy Origins, because that's what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
So this
is this where we find out how the Final Fantasy began?
Right. It's the beginning of the beginning of the fantasy that never ends.
Okay.
This is how it all started, Jeff. This is how it all started. So what we know is that it is actually set in the world of Final Fantasy 1. It's actually set. It's a more or less like I guess I've heard a prequel to the original Final Fantasy, but we know that it's set in that world. And it's been compared to the Dark Souls series and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, in terms of gameplay. Although it is said to be more accessible for a wider audience, which makes sense because it's Final Fantasy, and which is a bigger name than Dark Souls, for example. And you're not going to want to lock people out because it's overbearingly difficult. And it is set. Okay, actually, looks like it's set during the events of the first game in the franchise. And apparently, there is going to be a playable demo this summer to get feedback. Which, if you think about it,
I did hear about this. Yeah, it's like a public alpha. It's similar to what they did with Neo.
Exactly. We know that Square Enix and Team Ninja have a close working relationship because all right. So Team Ninja was the one who worked on Dissidia Final Fantasy NT, which again kind of sucks because that game wasn't great. But
different type of game though, right?
Like but I mean the Dissidia games before that were great. Dissidia NT was not so much.
Just based on the games that chat was talking about that Team Ninja has worked on before. Like they did Ninja Gaiden, and so to be when you're talking about a Souls-like game or something that's very combat focused and strategy focused and technically skilled and stuff like that. I would look more to I would look less to their experience with something like Other M, and oh, these are the guys that did Ninja Gaiden, obviously a long time ago. Probably most of the team isn't there anymore, but this seems like something that could be in their wheelhouse.
Well, a few other things we know. Okay, never mind. That was something about Dissidia. So what's interesting is that. Oh no, Jeff, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I will say, I like the idea of publishers and kind of these franchises. It's like we saw what Nintendo did with Hyrule Warriors. That game isn't my kind of jam, but I like the idea of owners of these IPs opening it up a little bit and letting people kind of explore that world and characters in a really different style and really even a different genre. I think it's a cool way to, maybe people don't like JRPGs or are turned off by JRPGs, but they could go and play something like this Final Fantasy Origins, assuming it turns out to be good. And maybe they get wrapped up in that story and lore and they're like, oh shit, I actually kind of want to play this game. I don't know. I think it's a really cool idea, and I hope it turns out well.
I'm so tired of games with Origins in the title. It's so fucking rote. But
it's leaked, so it might not be the official title.
It might not. And also important to note that we've actually already had a Final Fantasy Origins, which was the compilation of Final Fantasy 1 and 2 on the PlayStation.
I remember that because I bought it and I played an hour of Final Fantasy 1. I was like, oh, this game sucks.
Those games have not held up great. Final Fantasy 1 and 2, I mean.
Yeah, I respect them for what they are. It was very, very hard to get into.
It was, yeah. No, I of course, I love all Final Fantasy games except for Final Fantasy 2. That game is just straight up hot garbage. It's not good. But so Britt, I've been educating Jeff on Final Fantasy Origins, but I want to know your thoughts on it. what we know about the game is that it's a Souls-like apparently, but more accessible and set during the events of the original Final Fantasy. Like I would not have called this, and this is apparently going to be like one of their big showings at E3 this year. Like they are going to put a lot of focus on this game.
So I've never played a Souls game because I get very frustrated very easy. Like difficulty games just don't I pass on them. Like anybody who loves them, great for them. So I don't know how I feel about this. That being said, I think a good, I would say, comparison to gameplay wise to like a Souls game, but that's not as hard. And you guys, I want you guys' input on this. God of War, especially the PS4 one. Would you consider that gameplay like?
From a mechanic standpoint, a little more actiony, but I mean, you've got that over the, it's an over the shoulder game. It's in, Souls games are more of a, they're all third person, but God of War really brings the camera in closer to your shoulder.
Well, I just meant I meant like difficulty wise, right?
Oh
like
yeah, no, I would not consider that a Souls level difficulty at all.
Right. So what I'm saying is if, but it's harder. Like God of War isn't like hard, but it's like it's harder than like, I don't know, your average video game.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it can be. But I mean, honestly, like if Final Fantasy Origins comes in with that kind of difficulty, I'd be fine with that. However, like, put fucking difficulty levels in there.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Have some kind of slider.
Yeah, have a difficult, like if for no other reason than to just let people enjoy it, because not everybody's as good at certain games as everybody else, and it's also an accessibility issue. Like I hate to boil accessibility in games down to difficulty levels, because there's a lot more that needs to be done there. But the bare minimum for accessibility purposes, at a difficulty, which I'm sure they will. I'm sure there'll be some kind of difficulty slider in there. But what I was told about the production values of the game is that it's not anything on the. It's like it's going to be in the middle, right? Like it's not anything on the level of like Final Fantasy 16, which is a huge that's their flagship franchise, but it's also got a much bigger budget than something like, say, World of Final Fantasy. So I was told to expect visuals on the par of like Nier Automata, which makes sense. Because this is going to be like an action game, right? So they're going to want to have this thing running well, and so yeah. I heard a rumor also that Yoko Taro was involved somehow. From a gameplay scenario standpoint. So I don't know. We'll see.
He seems to be really just digging his fingers
14,
in,
right?
Yeah.
With the Yorha stuff.
Right. Right. So, I mean, yeah. And he, Jeff, like you said, he was he designed the Yorha Dark Apocalypse raids. So
they were pretty good.
They were pretty good.
They're super good.
They're
They're
really
hard
good.
as fuck though, but they're good.
They're brutal.
I did the
brutal.
epilogue quest today, by the way, and it's a really weak ending to that whole raid series, unfortunately. But Yoko Taro seems to be getting more and more involved with the Final Fantasy franchise, which is cool. So I don't discount that rumor at all. I bear in mind, I want to repeat that's a rumor. I'm not dropping any facts here. So
it worries me for one reason. One, we've already established the Dead or Alive franchise, and two, y'all know what the female characters in Nier look like, right?
Yeah.
I think Yoko Taro straight up said like, "Oh, they look like this because I like looking at them like this," or something like that.
Yeah. So
well, let's not forget.
Listen, as much as I love a good booty and a good titty, I would just like to see some little less of that moving forward.
Well,
maybe a little bit, but just not base your entire female character design around ass and titties. That's just me.
I guess it could be worse. Like Hideo Kojima could be designing the characters, I guess. So
I could literally have a whole podcast on troublesome.
Have a quiet situation there.
Troublesome game developers and females.
But no, I'm looking forward to this. I mean, look, we know the game exists, and we will see more of it at Square Enix's E3. Brittany, go ahead.
I was going to say, ultimately, I am. It's a Final Fantasy, so I'm excited for it.
Yeah, me too.
Like
you said, I just hope it's accessible, right? Like, because I'm like Brittany, like my idea of fun is not like fighting the same boss 20 times and like constantly dying when I like have him one hit from that. Like,
That's my idea.
I want to. I know, John. I know you're a real gamer, but I'm not a real gamer.
You and me both, Jeff.
I just want to get that atmosphere. I want to get that story. I want to get that music, the characters, and I just want to like button mash my way through this entire thing. So
what's the word?
What is the word?
What is the word?
No,
Brittany,
that we made up when he was on the podcast.
Oh shit! It was what Gwomf. Gwomf that shit up. You gotta Gwomf that shit up. Gwomf.
He fucking knew. He knew.
He pulled that shit. Gwomfing like a motherfucker. Like he pulled that shit out. He had it rated like a katana. He was like shing. like I Gwomf that shit. We need.
Oh shit.
That's the new podcast word. We're gonna Gwomf that shit.
Let's fucking gwomp to the next topic.
We're gonna gwomp over to the next topic. What does a gwomp sound? Even never mind. You know what? I don't want to know what it actually sounds like in real life.
Are you going to the next JRPG series, John?
No, I'm not. We're not there yet. We're not there yet because there is something else that is apparently going to be revealed at the Square Enix E3, and that is a collection of the first 6 Final Fantasy games, Final Fantasies 1 through 6. With
is this a platform to talk about Final Fantasy 6 again?
Yes, but also because that's part of the collection. With the
well, actually give it another shot on if they upgrade it. So as a collection.
So from what I've heard, the 4, 5, and 6 games will have the classic, like, SNES style visuals, along with the updated translations of the advanced versions and the extra content. So those 3 games will be more or less definitive versions of those games. I also heard a rumor that it was Switch exclusive. I don't know if I necessarily believe that. I hope that's not true.
Where did the news about the compilation come from? Like, where did this even come
from? The same individual who leaked Final Fantasy Origins.
Okay, and this is like, we think it's legit.
It's legit.
Okay.
So that's coming at some point. And I'm fucking like, let's just say I'm 99% certain that this is a real thing. Like,
he's fucking gwomping sure
I'm gwomping sure.
I mean, it makes sense. Like, obviously they've been loving their re-releases of Final Fantasy, right? They did 7, 8, and 9.
Right.
They had the updated versions of 10,
and it's long past time for something like this. I'm surprised it doesn't.
Yeah, and it's honestly weird that it's taken this long for those classic ones. I'm not expecting a ton of effort put into them, but like,
so from what I've
even
heard,
just making them available on a current platform would be a huge step.
So what I've heard is that the first 3 games are pretty bare bones, right? Like Final Fantasy. Yeah. So Final Fantasies 1, 2, and 3. All I know about them is that there's not a whole lot of work being done there. 4, 5, and 6 are going to be the Super Nintendo versions, but they will have the updated translated version, or the updated translated localizations of the Game Boy Advance versions and the extra content from those versions. So those 3 will be more like a definitive collection of those games. And the only reason I give any credence to the Switch exclusive rumor is because we do have a precedence for Square Enix releasing classic games collections exclusively to Switch. Collection of Mana is a good example. That did not come to any other platform but Switch. So I don't know. We'll see. I hope it's not. I hope that's not the case. But oof. What?
And you know what's sad about it is it's like how much have you been screaming for a remaster of 6 and Chrono Trigger in Octopath Traveler format, and guess what comes out?
So all right. So we'll get to that in a minute. We'll get that. We'll get to that in a minute.
I just think it's like, as soon as I saw that, I was like, John's probably fucking like ecstatic and so fucking mad at the same time.
We're gonna trust me, Britt. We're gonna get into that. We are gonna visit that in great detail. But I could not be happier about this. It is, like Jeff said, I am stunned that it has taken this long for that shit to fucking happen. Because I mean, how many times has Final Fantasy VII been re-released at this point?
Not as much as fucking Skyrim or Resident Evil 4.
I mean, still though, like, I mean, that game's all over the fucking place, and you know, especially given the focus on re-releases of the Saga franchise, which are not great. I like, you know, everybody has been like, "Where's Final Fantasy 4, 5, and 6? Where's Chrono Trigger? Where's this and this?" You know, and so it's good to see that it looks like this is finally happening. And apparently it's so. Here's the interesting story behind this. It's apparently done. A year ago, Square Enix announced that they were going to do and when I heard about this, it made perfect sense. Square Enix had announced that they were going to do a streaming service for their classic titles, like from Super Nintendo and PlayStation and stuff like that. That was kinked. They, late last year, they were like, we're not going to do that anymore. But now we've got these games that we were going to release on there, and we might as well just sell them and try to make a profit. The Final Fantasy 1 through 6 collection was something that was supposed to be a part of that. And this is also the reason that we have not seen these games pop up on Nintendo Switch Online. Because Square Enix would rather, as opposed to licensing them out to Nintendo to put them on their online servers for, a small amount of money, they're like, let's just package them and sell them. And we'll make more money off of it. So from a business perspective, that does make sense. It doesn't explain the absence of Chrono Trigger on there. But yes, Blaine, it's real.
I mean, we got Caveman Ninja, so do we really need Final Fantasy
No,
6?
we don't. But it's nice to have. So I am very excited about that.
It's always like nice when older games get accessibility to a new generation, I guess. So like
right.
to be able to experience.
Like right now, how do you play these games?
I've got a Super NT and a cart.
Yeah, or I mean, okay,
or an emulator.
I think some of them are on the Super Nintendo Classic.
Some of them are.
But
was playing on the PlayStation 3.
But those are still
or PS1 classic versions of some stuff, because they have like the Final Fantasy Anthology and things like that. But like, someone who just has a Switch or someone who just has a PS5, like, you should be able to play these games.
Right. And I think there's a deeper conversation there, not just about games conservation, which you guys know is very important to you, but also about carrying our purchases forward. Having everything that I have bought in the past available on these new consoles going forward. And I feel like we're, it's taken way too long. We're finally starting to see some of that happen. But we're nowhere near where we need to be with that. And I'm also glad, because a lot of these games are being lost to time, man. Like, I've got a stack of Super Nintendo cartridges over here, right? But eventually the battery, like the save batteries in these things, are going to die. And that's that, and so all of these games are going to be lost to time at some point. And even the Super Nintendo Classic, Jeff, those games are running off an emulator. Those aren't the original games. I know. So I mean, it's like, come on, Nintendo, what the fuck are you doing? I am extremely happy that this is finally going to happen.
Watch, they're going to release it and then they're going to fucking Mario it. They're just going to wipe it off the shelves in the store.
Probably. Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them at all. So another thing that
Disney fucking vault.
Yeah. We also know that there is maybe you guys haven't heard of this, but there is a Guardians of the Galaxy game in development at Square Enix as well. And it's being developed.
This is news to me.
It's being developed by...
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, so the only thing I know about it is that it's real and it's being developed by IDOS.
Who did the Avengers game?
That was Crystal Dynamics. That was Crystal Dynamics. You were right. So
okay,
yeah, this is not the same team. But literally all I know about it is that it's Guardians of the Galaxy. That's the only thing I know. But I'd
play a Guardians of the Galaxy game.
I would. I mean, if it's good. But that will be at E3 as well. Do you remember?
Will it be a JRPG?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
I would
other than
honestly
it's
play a turn-based, party-based.
that would be
Guardians of the
fucking cool,
Galaxy
or like something
game.
like
That would be
Diablo, like
hilarious.
a top-down isometric Guardians of the
Ooh.
Galaxy.
You guys.
What?
This just got confirmed
What?
a little bit ago. It's about Moon Knight.
What got confirmed?
Moon Knight.
Yeah, it's a Marvel. Yeah. Mark
No.
Spector. Hold on, let me look at this real quick. Oh yeah, no, we already knew this. Yeah, I saw this picture
Did we?
earlier. Yeah, we already knew this. Yeah, we already
It was a
we
while
already
ago.
yeah we already knew that he was playing Mark Spector.
I didn't fucking know that.
Yeah.
Well, then delete my comment
I
and
would-
wipe me
yeah.
off the podcast.
And also,
I mean, it's
can we
still awesome.
can
Like,
we ban
Oscar Isaac
can
fucking
we
ruled.
ban Brittany through the
please,
can we
Rar,
ban
can
Brittany from the
you
chat, please?
can you do me a favor and ban me, please?
Put me out of my misery.
Yeah, fucking.
I'm gonna. It's
Get
gonna
me
be
outta
like
here.
speaking of Guardians of the Galaxy. We gotta do what the Grandmaster did. Brittany, you are officially banned from life.
It was pardoned.
I
It was
accept
pardoned-
that
it was
willingly.
pardoned, but she is not. She's not pardoned.
I would let Jeff Goldblum melt me into.
I
a
would
blob.
too. I would too.
Yeah,
Definitely.
definitely.
But the only other thing I think that we know about Square Enix is going to have a huge E3. Like this is going to be a massive showing for them. I am rescinding my prediction about Nier Automata's sequel because I don't think that's going to be there. I think it's the majority of what they're showing is going to be based on Final Fantasy. So, sorry Nier fans, but I don't think Nier Automata is going to be there, or any kind of sequel to Nier. Although I'm sure it's in development. Speaking of more Square Enix games and remakes of older games that I would love to see, last night we had a Dragon Quest stream, the 35th anniversary of Dragon Quest, and I have never been more simultaneously happy and fucking annoyed than I was when we saw that we had an HD 2D remake of Dragon Quest 3 on the way, which on the one hand looks fucking gorgeous.
It looks
like
so, that just chef's kiss.
oh
looks so
my
good.
god, I was not. So I was my prediction is I was expecting ports of 4, 5, and 6, which would have been good. But this, I was like, holy fuck! They are really, and also I love how I love how they accidentally leaked that we're getting remakes of 1 and 2 in HD2 as well, which is really funny. So we know that more remakes are coming, and that's that's great. And Dragon Quest 3 in HD, like HD 2D, like is my new thing. Like it's so, that style is so fucking gorgeous.
I just want to say real quick, John, like it's shallow and it's superficial and I hate it. But when I see like the SNES era visual, like I can respect those visuals, but they're just a little bit too old for me. Like when I was trying to play like Final Fantasy 4 and 6, I admire, the quality of that at the time. Like I want to be very careful and say like I respect it. It's just like, I don't know, maybe it's because of all the indie games that have the pixel art and stuff. It's just my brain kind
Jeff,
of
if
like,
it's not for you, it's not for you, bud.
it's not for me. But I just want to say I fucking love the look of these games. I loved the look of Octopath, even though I didn't like the game itself. And this is what will get me to go back and play these games because
that would be amazing, right? Like if they redid some of those, like,
do this.
Does Dragon Quest give you hope at all, John?
So I was watching this last night, and after the trailer was over, I had two thoughts. My first thought was, man, fuck, like that was gorgeous. Can't wait for that. Then my immediate thought was, where the fuck is Final Fantasy VI? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I mean, I was like, okay, Saga's getting remakes, great. Okay, those games suck, but whatever. Dragon Quest is getting remakes. Those games are great. Like, I fucking love Dragon Quest. Fantastic.
I've never played a single Dragon Quest game, so I'm looking forward to playing these.
The only one I played was 11, like the newest one, and I loved it so much.
It's great,
I think
Brittany.
you should try it, Britt. It's like it's all the stuff you like about JRPGs, but it has a lot of modern, like, quality of life shit. Like, and it's actually a gorgeous game.
Zach just recently played through it, and I watched a little bit of like he platinums every single game he plays, and that's not an exaggeration. He just got done platinuming Mass Effect 1. So he platinumed that game. So he spent a lot of time on it, and he fucking loved it. So
Dragon Quest 11 is the best in the series too. Like
Yeah.
easily. Like it's a fantastic fucking game. But last night, Britt, I was like, where is my Final Fantasy VI remake? Like, why can I not like why does this game keep getting fucking ignored? And
So is it just the one game that got remade in Octopath
yes,
format?
yeah, just Dragon Quest 3. Although
that's not boding well for the.
they let slip that Dragon Quest 1 and 2 are being remade in that style as well.
How did they slip it?
Because
How'd
he
they
was
slip it
like,
in?
we've got the same thing coming for 1 and 2, and somebody literally blew a fucking whistle to shut him up.
Did you hear the part after that where he also said that they're not going to do that for any of the Final Fantasy games?
Jeff, they did not say that.
It happened, yeah. Right after
Jeff,
that,
yeah, they definitely did not say that, Jeff. But no, Britt, Yuji Horii was literally like, and we're excited to do the same for 1 and 2, and some motherfucker pulled out a whistle, was like, what? And he was like, oops, I guess I should shut the fuck up now. And so we know that 1 and 2 are coming as well. So while I am highly fucking annoyed that this is not Final Fantasy VI on a level that I can't really begin to describe, at the same time, I feel like the precedent has been set now. And like Jeff said, like if you want people to go back and like people who were not even alive at the time to go back and play these games, like this is the way to do it.
This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way. And I just, but there's still that little lingering bitterness today. Like I was watching the trailer again and I was like, it should have been Final Fantasy VI. like
It's like I've been seeing everybody post those screenshots, and I'm like, man, John has to be the most conflicted motherfucker.
I really am.
John's like, life is good, but it could be better.
Yeah, no, yes, yeah. That's exactly.
Somebody needs to make that meme right now.
I'm gonna, yeah. I'll do it as soon as we log off here. But oh god, now you got me thinking about this shit again because
I'm excited. Like I've been having a hard time getting excited for games, and it's funny because like before the pandemic, I was really burning out on JRPGs. I was like, I don't want to deal with like some of the anime shit and like just the grinding. Like I was kind of like almost like turned off by them, and now I love the vibrancy. I actually like kind of the really earnest cheesiness of some of them, and I like some of the tropes and stuff. So like I'm really fucking excited to buy this Dragon Quest 3 remake and just like sink my teeth into it.
I have a sneaking suspicion it's going to come out this year, like late this year. We'll see. I sooner rather than later, and hope, or sooner rather than later, I hope.
I'm in this fantasy league for game reviews and stuff like that, and if it's going to be this year, I really need to grab it. So
I can't wait. Like all joking aside, it looks gorgeous. We also there was a few more things announced at the Dragon Quest stream last night. Of course, last night Dragon Quest 12 was the big one. We've got a follow up to Dragon Quest 11 coming, and I was literally like
11 just came out.
But what actually came out in 2018 or 2017 in Japan, then 18, and then
it's been a long year and a half.
Yeah, it really has. But Britt, I like before. When I knew the announcement was coming, they were like, let's talk about the big one that everybody wants to talk about. I was like, watch these motherfuckers pull a logo reveal. Watch them pull a logo reveal, and that's exactly what the fuck they did. And it was Dragon Quest 12, the Flames of Fate or something like that. And I was like, those motherfuckers actually did it. They showed a logo. And
time I saw that was Bethesda with the new Elder Scrolls game.
No, somebody actually posted a picture of the Metroid Prime 4 logo and the Dragon Quest 12 logo and the Starfield logo and the Elder Scrolls 6 logo, and they were like the quartet. But oh yeah, and they said this is Dragon Quest for adults.
Did they actually say that?
Yeah, they did.
What does that mean? Is there going to be like a dating simulator in it?
There's gonna be titties.
I like how fucking mature are we that it's like it's Dragon Quest for adult and our mind just goes to fucking sex and titties,
yeah,
right? Like
Oh, Britt, let's be honest though. Your mind went there before ours did.
Mine has always been there, so that's not an excuse. Like y'all have your own excuses to work out.
But yeah, so they said it's going to be for adults, and which is a really profoundly weird and kind of creepy way of putting that.
It is, right? Because video games are like supposed to be for everybody.
Yeah. So what they could have said, I think, was we're gonna make it. But then again, like if you say we're gonna make it darker, people are gonna be like, oh great, it's The Crow. And if you say we're
Zack Snyder video game.
yeah, it's the Snyder cut, Dragon Quest 12, the Hori cut. But so they also said they're gonna
I muted that on that shit on Twitter. I'll mute you guys right now.
They also said that they are going to.
Brittany's like, I'm once again asking.
Brittany's done. But yeah, I don't necessarily like. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I don't necessarily think they need to make Dragon Quest darker or more edgy. Like the whole.
That's like it's saying, such like, a cartoony looking game that it's like
the whole reason I fell in love with 11 and that I want to try 3 is like, yo, this is like really feel good and like just like I don't know, wholesome.
Oh, Jeff, you muted.
You know what? I think I made at least one show. I'm not even gonna repeat what I said.
Britt, you shouldn't have said anything. You should just let him go. We could have nodded.
Just let me go. Just let me fucking go.
We should have nodded and been like, yeah. I totally agree, Jeff. I 100%, man.
Can somebody clip that, please?
Yeah, somebody in chat, please clip that. Yeah. I don't know, like this, like Dragon Quest, like in Dragon Quest 11, I'm beating up demons, and they got like stars circling over their head. I mean, you know, and like you've got demons, you've got demons that have hooves called Lucifers. Like, I mean, this is.
Do they?
Yes, they actually do.
What's the pom poms, the puff puffs?
Oh, puff puff.
Yeah,
that's one. So, if nobody is familiar with Dragon Quest, a puff puff is when essentially a girl shakes her titties at you. That's puff puff.
That's. I didn't remember. I just remembered it from Final Fantasy 14, and it was like
that's puff puff.
A dance or something. I didn't.
Yeah, it's essentially if you play Dragon Quest, like Brittany, after the podcast, go to YouTube and just Google Dragon Quest 8 Puff Puff and tell me what you find.
I'll do it right now.
Do it right now. Yeah. This is a literal attack that Jessica, one of the characters in Final Fantasy or in Dragon Quest 8 does. And hold on, I want to see Brittany's reaction to this in real time, because if she's never seen this, like if you've never seen it, it's definitely a thing that
they call it a poof poof. Okay.
Oh, poof poof. All right. Well, it's puff puff, but yeah, she's just. I'm
not even there yet. It's the NPC teaching her how to do it, I guess.
All right. So wait till she does it. Like it's.
Oh God.
This is how you do puff puff.
This massage though.
Yeah.
Oh, she's getting a puff puff.
No, yeah, so
am I supposed to, she's wearing a fucking the goop mask.
Yeah, it's so hold on.
Is this what I'm supposed to be looking at?
Hold on, real quick. Hold on. I will send you a video right now. Because I know what I'm looking for. Dragon Quest 8. Okay.
We can probably take this to the DMs.
Okay, here it is. Nope, here it is right here, Britt. I'm going to send it to you right now, and we are going to gauge your reaction live here on the podcast. In fact, you know what? I'm going to drop it in the chat for everybody.
Perfect.
If you want to see this crazy shit here, there you go. That's in the chat. That is a thing. That's a thing that.
All right, here we go.
Jesus Christ.
Wait, it doesn't do anything. Oh my God. Wow. She's legit cradling her tits.
Yeah, she's shaking her titties at the monster. And As the game says, she's doing her best.
It
Puff
wasn't
puff.
very effective.
No, yeah, it wasn't very effective. But yeah, no, there's a giant chicken monster, and Jessica just wants to pull those titties out. Thank you for that, Yuji Horii.
They could get rid of this in 12, and I'd be fine.
Yeah, like they still have Puff Puff in 11, but they get rid of that stupid gratuitous bullshit. It's just that like you see like the hearts float up and the birds fly, and it's still stupid, but I mean at least it's not like super misogynist, so it is what it is, I guess. But there was a few other Dragon Quest things announced yesterday. Dragon Quest Treasures, which has Eric and his sister, I believe, from Dragon Quest 11. And they also mentioned that there's a new Dragon Quest Monsters coming. And again, like that's something that Yuji Horii like started talking about, and then again, Britt, they pulled the fucking whistle out and started blowing it. It's like it was like the equivalent of spraying a cat when it gets up on the fucking shelf and you don't want it up there. Like Yuji Horii just starts going off and they pull out a whistle and start blowing it.
I could also have a podcast of just terrible traits that come from like terrible characters.
Yeah.
Archetypes that come from
maybe we should have
Japan.
that podcast at some point.
Yeah.
We should definitely have that podcast at some point.
You have to watch a little bit of anime to get a better understanding of that shit though.
Never.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm just not going to do that.
All right. So what's next? We got a bunch of shit.
I got one that I don't think was on the list, John.
Go ahead. No. Drop it, dude. Drop it, man. We're all friends here. Let's go.
Yeah. So, I don't know how this came out. Apparently, Sony was having some kind of investor talk or investor meeting, and there was like a PowerPoint presentation just straight up posted on Sony.com. It was like a PDF. And just in there, it was like they had, expanding our platform and more PC releases. And then they had like Days Gone. Right below that, they had Uncharted 4. And this is like the third time that their PC releases have just like been really low key, just kind of, okay, here it is. So Uncharted 4 is coming to PC, which is a pretty big deal because that's another big Sony exclusive that's going to be on PC. But I think it's just interesting because it's like a really weird one. Like Days Gone and Horizon and stuff, and Death Stranding, even though it's not Sony first party, they're all kind of standalone games. But Uncharted 4 is like a really weird game because you kind of have to play the first three to
understand
yeah, I don't know, it's like it's 5 years old now. It's just kind of out of left field. I thought
that you just turned me, you just fucking dusted me like Thanos when you said that. Like Jesus Christ, that game is 5 fucking years old. Holy shit! Been a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
So, I don't know, like not a ton to talk about there, but obviously they're happy with how their PC releases have been going, and obviously, releasing Days Gone and Horizon on PC isn't stopping anyone from buying a PS5. So, more people get to play these games. I think that's good. I'll definitely buy it again on there.
Speaking of Horizon, or do we want to bring up the Sonic stuff real quick first?
No.
Let's talk about Sonic. Let's get that out of the way.
Yeah, let's get Sonic out of the way. So
Sonic.
So we got some Sonic stuff dropped today. Sonic Colors Ultimate, which is coming to current gen consoles. Of course, Sonic Colors came out on the Wii. Great fucking game. Like if you've never played Sonic Colors, that game rules. And
I have not.
I've never played a Sonic game.
Seriously?
What?
Wow, dude, you're missing out.
Sonic. I mean, bad, so I just don't play them.
Some Sonic games are bad.
The first ones are great.
Like, well, I mean, and you'll see that, Jeff, when you get when the compilation hits, because we're also getting Sonic 1, 2, 3 Knuckles and CD. Those games, Jeff, like, dude, go play Sonic Mania.
I will say, sorry, I'm wrong. I played what's one of the recent 3D ones? Is it Sonic?
Oh, so you've had a shit experience then?
No.
Sonic Forces?
No. Keep going. Sonic
Forces.
Generations.
Yeah, those I don't like the Generations games.
Okay. I don't know. I think it was Generations. I think that was the one I played.
I think Sonic's at its best. Cool. I think Sonic's at its best when it's 2D. Although Colors is fucking outstanding. And seeing that game at 4K 60 like on a PlayStation 5 is going to be an experience. But we're also getting the collection. We're getting Sonic 1, 2, 3 Knuckles and Sonic CD, which is cool because Sonic CD is a game that really hasn't gotten a lot of love, and it is really, really high up there in the hierarchy of 2D Sonic games. So I am really excited about that. And as you can tell from the reactions on Twitter today, like Sonic still has a huge fan base. Like everybody's excited about Sonic today.
Like that, should that be surprising after they fucking changed the movie because the fan base was so up in arms about how Sonic looked?
To be fair, Britt, that was the right move because his original movie design was a fucking monstrosity.
I mean, yeah, but
I mean, Britt, you know, that was real bad. That was fucking terrible. That was a nightmare vision. But yeah, like there's not a whole lot to say about Sonic here other than, you know, I think this is good. Like we're getting compilation.
Sonic is like Dragon Quest in the sense that it's just one of those feel good games, right? Like,
right. Yeah. No, there is nothing. Yeah, in my opinion, the you know, the 2D Sonics, there's nothing not to like there. It's a compilation of some really, really great classic 2D games, and of course Sonic Colors, which is a fantastic Sonic game in and of itself.
Like I said, I'm really same thing with Dragon Quest. Like this is like a series that has always been around, and I've never actually really like dove into. And I'm same thing with Sonic. I've never played one, and Colors seems like a good. I'm really looking for like games that are not like shooting and murdering and like sneaking up behind people. And
I grew up on Sonic.
Them.
Dude, dude, pick up Sonic Mania. Seriously, pick up Sonic Mania.
I grew up on Sonic and like Donkey Kong.
Yeah, I think Colors is more up my alley just because, like I said, I'm not big on like the old 2D style games, and I know Mania's a little bit more like that. I think I'm gonna try Colors, and if I like love it, then maybe I'll give Mania a shot. But definitely I'm gonna give it a shot.
No, that's not. I mean, as long as you play. I mean, Colors is good. Like if you play Colors, I'm good at that, dude. Because Colors is fucking outstanding. So let's talk about Horizon Forbidden West.
Let's.
Boy, that's a looker. That's a really good
That is
game.
an extremely pretty fucking game. Like I watched it twice. Like that trailer, just because I couldn't get over like
the underwater
like,
shit is what got me.
The underwater was like,
yeah,
just the transition from like the cutscene to gameplay is like so flawless and smooth, and the fucking combat with like the little mini cutscenes in between. I was like, oh god, this looks so fucking good.
Yeah,
I feel like Horizon. I know Horizon was well received, and I know people like it, but I feel like it's one of those games that kind of hasn't been discussed that much in the last few years. And man, like that was in my top 5 of last gen probably. I don't think it reinvented any of the wheels, but I loved Aloy. I loved the story in that game, and I just think it's incredible that Guerrilla. This was like their first big game that wasn't a first-person shooter called Killzone. And even though it wasn't perfect,
they knocked it out the park.
They really did.
To do so well, completely different type of game. I'm amazed with how many things they did right, and I'm excited to see how much they learned from that with this game.
I do see.
What did you not like about Horizon that you hope is going to be fixed in Horizon 2?
It's not like I didn't necessarily actively dislike anything. There's just a lot of stuff, like the crafting, where it's like, okay, the human combat it's been years now, and I have the memory of like a goldfish, so I don't.
Me too. So
but like I remember being unimpressed with the human combat.
Like fighting the melee. The melee combat was just bad.
It's the same thing when I play the new Tomb Raider games, like shooting fucking bows at like some random humans. Like I don't know, that wasn't that fun. And I know the melee. I didn't even use the melee because like why would I want to do that?
Yeah.
But it's like basic stuff that most games struggle with. Most melee combat games isn't good. Most stealth isn't good. So it's not exclusive to Horizon. But it was like, all of it wasn't really like a big deal because the world was so beautiful and I was so hooked on the story and the world was so interesting to explore and stuff like that. But I think there's a lot of little things there that they could shore up and tweak and stuff like that.
So
the thing that interested me is that you learn. So like in the first Horizon, you pick up artifacts to like learn about what happened and get like story of people who used to live on Earth. And apparently in this game, you're going to have something similar, but it's going to actually play into the story, and you're going to learn about the people that you're fighting, I guess, because in the trailer, is it Aaron? Is that his name?
I know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
He hands that thing over and it's from San Francisco or whatever, and basically you get things like that that's gonna, I don't know if it's gonna progress the story, but you're gonna be learning about who you're fighting with it. And I think that's a really interesting concept, and it gives you a reason to want to collect other than just, getting additional little lore tidbits. So that's exciting to me. I loved the collecting in the first game anyway, so
I would, one thing I would like to see them drop, which means that they won't, is the we do this in, it seems, every single open world game. I don't want to climb any more towers to unlock parts of the map. Just come up with something else. Like, granted, the way they did it in Horizon Zero Dawn was kind of cool. You had the big robot brachiosaurs but I mean, essentially you're still climbing towers. We've done that in countless Assassin's Creeds. We've done that we did it in Mad Max. We've done it in Far Cry. But
now you have a grappling hook to get up there.
Yeah, but you're still climbing towers, and like, just come up with something new. Like it's 2021. We have evolved to the point, I think, in this industry where we can.
What if it's a pterodactyl?
That's even worse, because I don't want to fucking have to work to try to unlock parts of the map. Okay, just like, give me the fucking map. Give me the fucking map. Like let me find a microchip on the ground. And be like, oh, I'll plug it into my little Bluetooth headset that Aloy wears.
I would like that. I would like.
Oh look, hey, I've got shit on my HUD now. Like,
but how are you gonna find it if you don't have the map unlocked?
I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to start a game with an entire map. That's like overwhelming. As shit.
No. I'm not saying that, but like, I mean, come up with something aside from like climbing a fucking tower.
Okay.
Like, I mean, I don't know, like, turn on your Bluetooth and pick up a signal or something. Like, I mean, come up with fucking something. Like, I mean,
this is such a boomer argument. Like, keep going.
I'm just saying, like, like, there's all kinds of fucking shit lying around.
Back in my day.
Like, yeah, I'm saying, like, come up with something new. These fucking towers are pissing me off. And I would like to see a little more meaningful interaction with the world than I saw in Horizon Zero Dawn. Like, it was extremely pretty to look at, but it, at
times very static, right?
Right, yeah.
Old game design, the environment, you were very limited in what you could, like you said, interact with and climb. I know there's comparisons to other games that came out in the same year where you could kind of, it felt like you were very funneled and very restricted in certain ways.
Well, and that's not a fault of Horizon Zero Dawn by any means, but I feel like something like Breath of the Wild coming out right on top of it really magnified those issues for me. Because Breath of the World to this day still has some of the most dynamic, interesting open world gameplay I have ever encountered. I mean, anything can happen.
There's a game that fucking unlocked the map straight off the bat, and I was like, this is a little too overwhelming with me. I got to put this down.
I mean, you still had to climb towers in Breath of the Wild, though. Like, I mean, you still had to fight fucking towers. Like, Jesus. But aside from that, like, I felt like anything could happen in the world, in Hyrule. And I didn't get that feeling in Horizon Zero Dawn. Like Jeff said, I found it very static. I found it very static. And just kind of, there's robots running around and not a lot of interactivity with anything else. So I would go ahead, Britt.
Oh, my biggest complaint was, like, it had kind of like Mass Effect dialogue, but it didn't really impact like the questions you asked or like what you answered. Like, there was no real relationship building. Like, what built relationships was doing the quests for them. Like, at the end of the game, you can, you can get people to be on your side or whatever. So I hope that they expand on that a little bit. And I don't necessarily need a romance option for Aloy. I think how they handled having a female main lead and she wasn't sexualized whatsoever was nice. So I don't mind not having the dating aspect, but like,
yeah, like I love that. It was like, I need to save the world. I don't have time to like have a boyfriend or something like that. And
it's like she wasn't even interested, right? Like that's what was nice about it, is it wasn't like she was struggling with feelings or anything. It was just like
she clearly had people who were interested in her in the first game.
Right. She was just straight up a fucking warrior. And that was like, I think that's one of the reasons why I love Horizon so much, is because she was like unaffected by people's emotions like that towards her. Like, it was just like it didn't even phase her. And it's like, how many games have we played where it's happened to men, but like women are opposite, you know, women like fall or they get crushes or, you know, so it was like nice just to have this character that was so much more than the relationship she has with other people. Like herself was just, she was just a badass, and I loved her a lot about it. But I hope going forward that when we are interacting with NPCs or characters or whatever, like we can figure out, like it could be like go towards something. Not necessarily like I don't even think we need like a Paragon Renegade option to like that, but I
don't think we do either. Yeah.
I just think something needs to be built upon there, right? Because it just feels like, you know, you could just speed through the whole game and you don't even have to talk to these people, and the only thing you miss out on is lore, pretty much. So I hope they make, you know, something better out of that.
One of the comments in chat, sorry, John, real quick.
No, please.
That was, you know, my favorite part of Horizon was the audio logs from the past, and I think that's something I've been thinking about a lot because, you know, like I said, like I think the game was really good, even though it wasn't
a pocket shitstorm.
But my favorite part of the game was kind of finally learning and uncovering what happened to this world. And
with the Pharaoh robots,
the way that they did that, I remember talking about it back then, and I still think it's
in Gaia.
They
Gaia,
never caved and did what a lot of things do, where they give you the big flashback or the big cutscene where they show you everything that happened. They never actually show you. There's a little bit of holograms and audio logs and stuff, but a lot of it reminded me a lot of reading a book, where I kind of had to like build this own visual in my mind of this horrible thing that happened and stuff like that. And the descriptions they give you are vivid enough and detailed enough and convincing enough that I could actually form a really good idea of what happened. But I think it's really cool that everyone probably has a slightly different interpretation of that. But to me, that was like a huge part of that original game, was uncovering that mystery. And now that we have that piece kind of resolved, I'm just curious to see what they do with the sequel and what kind of new questions and new stuff they introduce, because I think it's always a hard thing with a sequel, right? You've learned a lot about this world already, so now you have to kind of build on that, and that's kind of a tall order.
That was one thing that kind of bothered me about the original game too, is that it was strictly open world and dungeons. There was no good like intertwinement of the two. Like, you only got story when you went and did those dungeons. And it was like, I would have liked for them to kind of, like I said, merge the two of those better. Just because it was like, you know, you get out of one dungeon and it's like immediately, if you want to learn more story, you have to immediately go back into another dungeon. And it was just like, I want to not have to run through a dungeon in order to get some story. Like,
well, you know, to bounce off of that, Britt, you know, I think another thing I hope Horizon does better than the first game is making those dungeons feel more baked into the world. And I'm going to bring up Final Fantasy here again, but I think Final Fantasy 15 did that really well. Like, whether you like the game or not, like the dungeons in Final Fantasy 15 were some of the franchise's best, because they felt like part of the world. There was no loading screens. You walk into the dungeon and the theme of that dungeon is consistent with the area surrounding it. And you know, it feels like you're going underground. It feels like you're going in this old cave. It feels like you're going in this sprawling fortress. Like, they feel organically tied to the world. And that's something that I think not a lot of open world games do all that well. And I think Horizon, I think Horizon Forbidden West would be well served to make those areas feel like they're part of the world, as opposed to just, you know, I walk in a door and there's a loading screen and then I'm in, you know, like, you know, I'm in
an old ship or something.
Yeah, I'm in a fucking tunnel, and, you know, make me feel like I'm part of the world. Like, the world itself was so immersive. You know, that was one thing that Horizon, that you know, Zero Dawn did brilliantly, was immersing you into the visuals of that world. But then, like, it kind of broke whenever, like, you would enter one of those factories, Britt, you know, like one of those factories that's putting the machines together, and it's like,
that's how you unlock being able to sync up with them, or
now you can you know, convert them to your side. But those dungeons felt so out of place because
it reminded me a lot of Mass Effect Andromeda. They had dungeons like that where you go in and you do the same thing. Like you're able to, I don't even remember what it was in Andromeda. Maybe scan them or something. I don't remember, but it was very similar. And I was like, Well, and I hate to like sound like I'm bitching because I fucking love Horizon. I platinumed
me
it.
too. Like it.
It's one of my favorite games of all time. Just because it's important to me, and I loved the gameplay of it. But it's definitely, you can tell it's by a studio that is it was their first, like,
they were still finding their footing in the genre.
Yeah.
Well, and like, it came out in, what was it, 2017?
17, yeah.
Yeah.
So like, they started development in 2012, 2013,
probably
before
something
even
like
The
that.
Witcher
Yeah.
3 came out. So like, it's not only the release date, like there's just, it was kind of, you just don't, you get to a point where you don't have the ability to learn. Like, the industry and games have evolved so much and done so much more interesting things since then.
Right.
And yeah, it's the same thing as what Britt said. Like, I just want more ways to interact with that world and learn from the world. Like, there's these big hub cities and stuff, but they were just basically like, oh, you can like use your crafting stuff or upgrade. Like, I want those to be worked into the story more. I want more ways to get the narrative before, like
let me sit down and have a drink and like strike up a conversation with one of the people in the tavern.
And
like
some of the best recent games, like the side quest I hate to bring up Witcher 3 again, but like, that was one of the things people loved about that game, is like the side quests also tie into the main narrative as
side
well.
quests were better than the main narrative itself, in my opinion.
Even, God help me, Final Fantasy 14 again. I'm sorry to bring it up, but like, a lot of the non-main story content there, you could argue,
like the raids,
is main story content.
Yeah, they fucking even told you.
The Hildegard quests are Final Fantasy 14 high point. Like,
yeah,
or the Hildebrand. I'm sorry, not Hildegard. Hildebrand. But yeah, like give us more narrative options. I guess the side stuff in Horizon Zero Dawn was fine, but it was also very bog standard open world stuff. Go
right,
find this and bring it back
didn't affect anything. You could run through the whole game without doing any of that shit, and a lot of people did, and I think that's why a lot of people don't like the game, is because they either didn't know, or they didn't want to, or they didn't care. And so I think that was a big downfall about the game. But like I said, I did everything in the game. I loved it. And I hope with this new one, they just fucking knock it out the park, because it's so fucking pretty.
Britt, one of my favorite parts of Horizon Zero Dawn was, I this is still in my head, when you leave that first area initially after 5 or 6 hours, and you go to that guard post up in the mountains, and you're like, okay, so I've pretty much hit the end of the map here, but then you realize that there's this whole other.
Oh no!
And I was like, holy shit!
I was like, fuck!
Yeah, I was like, wow!
So bad.
Yeah, that's me too. Jeff and I are so similar when it comes to that shit. Like, just like
I was like, I have not even scratched the fucking surface of this map.
One thing I think that the game is going to benefit is you're not starting off like learning about the lore of the world and the tribal wars. Like, I think that was, especially now, I think it's a little, it's kind of a touchy subject. So I definitely, I'm glad they're just, it seems like they're shooting off, just going into the, the robots and the dinosaurs and, the raiders, the bad people. So I think that'll help maybe switch people's opinions about the game and maybe like this one a lot better, because it's just, you're digging right into the juicy bits, even though you're not going to have any idea what's going on because you didn't play the first one.
So the other thing I wanted to mention about Horizon Zero Dawn is release date. Now, we did not get a date. I think they said 2021.
I think that was the original window.
Was that the original window? I don't think this is a 2021 game. I don't.
I think it's going to be spring. I think it'll be spring next year.
I think that sounds right.
The original Horizon was March. I think it's going to be the same, like that February to May. I think God of War was in May. Sony loves their like Q1, Q2 releases now, and it seems like it's going to fit really, really well in right there.
I agree. Of course, I also expected that is when Final Fantasy 16 will release, and I know where my priorities lie on that one. But I mean, obviously, Horizon Zero Dawn, Jesus. Horizon Forbidden West is going to take me fucking months to get over saying Zero Dawn as opposed to Forbidden West. That is clearly.
Or you're just going to mix the
Horizon
Forbidden West.
Zero West.
Forbidden
Zero
Dawn.
West.
Forbidden Dawn.
Forbidden Dawn. There we go.
Horizon.
That's a good title.
Forbidden Dawn. That actually is a really good fucking title for something. But that would be a good title for like a series of vampire novels or something. Forbidden Dawn.
That's just a good title for fucking Shadowbringers.
It really is, yeah. Final Fantasy 14 Forbidden Dawn. Yeah, like it really is. But
here we go, talk about 14 again.
Yeah, no, I'm always want to talk about 14. But clearly that is going to be Sony's big tentpole release, I think, for next year. Which leads me to, so did you see a bunch of those slides that leaked? We're like, they had the God of War Ragnarok thing, and Sony had like Googled for the Ragnarok logo themselves.
That's what I was mentioning earlier. That's where the Uncharted 4 piece release came from. That presentation, and they had they had here's our launch games, one of the strongest launches in PlayStation history, and then they had their post-launch window, which is I guess the game's coming out roughly within a year and change from PS5, and they had God of War Ragnarok, which it turns out was a logo, just Google image search from a fan mock-up. And they did have Final Fantasy 16 in there, which was interesting.
So I don't think there's any reality where God of War Ragnarok releases this year. I just don't.
We haven't even got a fucking trailer for it.
I still think
we'll see it at E3, I think, but it's
we'll see. Well, no, I mean, they're not doing the traditional E3 that everybody else does, but I agree. We'll see it this summer. We'll see it. I still think it's possible that Final Fantasy 16 might sneak in at the end of the year.
I don't think so.
I think it's possible.
Alongside Endwalker in November, I think they're going to space those out a bit.
So the original plan was for Endwalker to release in the spring, and for Final Fantasy 16 to release this winter, like late this winter, around the November timeframe. However, COVID, what's that?
I believe that.
Yeah, but however, COVID kind of fucked all that up. So now we've got Endwalker in November, and I think I think you're both probably right. I think 16 is probably a March through or May title in 2022. I would be willing to bet.
Yeah. So here's what I think. I think it's either going to be one or two things. Horizon Forbidden Wilds is going to be either spring or summer, or Final Fantasy is going to be spring or summer. And I don't know which one it's going to be because they're two big Sony launches, and I can't imagine they're going to put those both out at the same time.
Probably
I think they're going
not.
to put those out.
Yeah, probably not. And I think they're going to put more priority on Final Fantasy simply because that's going to sell well in Japan and the United States, whereas Horizon Zero Dawn, like that game didn't make it didn't flop or anything in Japan, but it also didn't push consoles in Japan. Like that game's just not going to sell the way like a Dragon Quest or a Final Fantasy will in Japan. It's just not going to happen. So I think they'll probably give the meteor window to Final Fantasy because that's a worldwide simultaneous release.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. We'll see. But I agree with you. I don't think whichever game comes first, I don't think those games are going to be all that close to each other. I agree with that. I think the smart play, to be honest with you, is to release Final Fantasy like in March, April, May, and then have Horizon be your holiday title.
I think so too. Yeah. I didn't want to get flack for that, but I could definitely, and if there's anything we learned from Cyberpunk, take your time with the game.
Please.
Take your fucking time.
Yeah, like we don't need another repeat of that. But of course, having said that, where does that leave God of War? Because I also don't see God of War.
It's definitely not going to be next year. I don't think so.
So you think that's
you
think that's a 2023 game?
Yep. I mean, look at the original God of War. It didn't come out until how long into the PS4's lifespan?
It was pretty late. It was pretty late.
Yeah.
Sony's interesting because they don't seem to like doing holiday releases like everyone else. Like, there's not a lot of big Sony games that come out in that October, December window. They love spring and summer.
But Final Fantasy 15 came out in November.
It did
when it launched.
That it did.
That's not that was a multi-platform. Like, I mean, like Sony first party stuff, right? Like they seem to avoid that window probably because they know it's so crowded. So I'm thinking if God of War isn't I think it's either next spring, maybe a few months after Horizon, So maybe we get Horizon in February,
That
March.
just
and then we
seems
get God of War
off.
in
That
May,
still
June.
seems awfully
Mm-mm.
close.
No.
Exactly.
Like-
But like, if it's not there, I don't see them releasing it in November or October. They don't seem to like that holiday rush window. So that's where I think, okay, it'll be next spring in 2023.
I agree with both of you. I think God of War is a 2023 game. Like
Mhm.
I just do. I think they are going to put much more focus on marketing Horizon right now, and I don't think we're going to get. I mean, I think we'll see a little more of God of War this year, but I don't think we're going to get that big E3 style deep dive until next year. Now I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But I don't think, since I mean we know for a fact that Horizon is going to release earlier, and I don't think that they want to take the spotlight off of Horizon. I just don't think they're going to do that. So I don't know.
Right, because they're two like big.
Open world.
They're two big title games
Yeah.
that are Sony exclusive and are known for kind of being
big spectacle.
I guess
yeah.
partners. Like
Right.
you know, the dev studios are friendly with each other, so I think just out of respect they would want to part that out between them. And plus the fact that we haven't heard anything about God of War, I would think if it was going to be released next year we would have heard something more. So I think we'll probably get a teaser or something, and then maybe next year or later this year or something next year we'll probably get a you know, that big meaty state of the play, and then 2023 or maybe end of the year for God of War.
That sounds about right to me.
Who knows?
I agree with that. I do think that we'll get I think we'll get not just a release window, I think we'll get a solid release date for Final Fantasy 16 from Square Enix's presentation. I think that that game has been in development. This isn't like a Final Fantasy 15
Is there a
scenario.
list of when all this shit's supposed to be showing, since there's not like an actual E3 conference?
So there is and there isn't, right? Like Square,
but I mean, like, there's so many people not participating,
right? So Microsoft. So we know that Microsoft, Square Enix, Capcom, so Microsoft, Square Enix, Capcom, Nintendo. Jesus Christ, they're all part of E3. like yeah, fucking. I'm all.
You block them out because you're still so mad about Final Fantasy VI Octopath.
I'm upset. I'm upset. But we all know that they are under the E3 banner. Sony, for example, is not. They're off doing their own thing. And I've heard really good things about Nintendo's E3. By the way, I'm really excited about that. But I think that we will get. I think that we will get firm release dates for Final Fantasy 16, like an actual date. I think
those are two release dates that we're going to get, is Horizon and Final Fantasy 16.
I agree.
For sure.
I think we'll probably get a release date for Horizon as well. I think so. And I don't anticipate, I still think there's a chance 16 slips into or makes it into 2021, but there's no way that Horizon is this year. It's just not going to happen. Mm-hmm. I also think that we will see. I think that I am really interested to see Nintendo's presentation, solely because we know that
they've had a very quiet year.
But we also know that the Switch Pro is going to loom heavily over everything they're doing.
Well, we also have, like, when are they supposed to, like, everybody was predicting that they were going to do a special, like, Zelda.
I think that's going to play into D3, like a Zelda presentation for their 35th anniversary. And I think they're going to say, I think they're going to say Skyward Sword is part of the celebration. Here is, Twilight Princess and Wind Waker available till next March. That's, and they're going to do it. That's exactly what the fuck they're going to do. Come on.
Fuck.
That's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to do that. We might get maybe some, some ports, some emulated ports of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. I think they'll make a bigger deal over Zelda's anniversary simply to make up for Mario. Go ahead.
Do you think because they already said that they're not going to, like, with the last presentation they did, they're like, I know you're excited for Breath of the Wild, but fuck off. Like, do you think we're going to get some Breath of the Wild content?
Yes, and I think I've actually changed my tune on Breath of the Wild. I think it might release this year.
Didn't you say it was supposed to release last year?
No.
Did you
I don't
not?
think there's. I don't think there's any way it's this year, but
I don't
I'm
either.
wrong.
I think there's a chance.
constantly,
So some of the Eurogamer guys have been teasing shit today, and I think that there is a really good chance that Breath of the Wild 2 might hit this sometime this winter.
The only reason why I say that is because at the beginning of the pandemic, my Switch, it wouldn't. I don't remember if you guys. I talked about it in the Discord fucking last year, but my Switch broke and I sent it in right as the fucking pandemic started. I didn't get my Switch back for like 4 months. So if the repair centers were closed down for 4 months, I can imagine the studios were probably not functioning either.
I mean, I think we
So-
heard a lot of Japanese developers and especially Nintendo were hit harder
They were.
than a lot of
But-
Western ones, just because the work style there is a little bit different. They weren't as able to readily adapt to like work from home practices and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I definitely think things are going to be delayed.
So well, here's the thing though, Britt. This is like, aside from Eurogamer teasing shit today, this is why I think Breath of the Wild might be a 2021 game. Because if all these reports about the Switch Pro launching in September are true, they are going to need and want a super big game to launch on top of that. And I cannot think of a better game to do that with than Breath of the Wild 2. So my prediction is that just like Breath of the Wild was a launch game for the Switch, Breath of the Wild 2 will be a launch game for the Switch Pro or whatever they're going to call it.
like a bundle pack.
I don't think it's going to be a bundle pack. I think it's just going to release on the same day. And that is what I'm predicting now, because Nintendo is not afraid to announce things. We already know it exists, but they are not afraid to give
I got a
big,
spicy
deep
prediction.
big deep dives on games and then release them like 4 months later. Like Nintendo just loves to do that shit. And I mean, come on, you can't just throw a Switch Pro out there without like a big first party title to push that motherfucker with.
What if it's a new Mario Kart?
I don't think so. I mean, Mario Kart. Like I think Mario Kart 9 is coming eventually. I think it's a next year game. Because they are not going to release, because if Breath of the Wild 2 is next year, they're not going to release Breath of the Wild 2 and Mario Kart 9 anywhere close to each other. That's just not going to happen. And we know this is also, I mean, it's the 35th anniversary of Zelda. The Switch Pro is going to come out in September. Like, I mean, all the stars are aligning for Breath of the Wild 2. Like,
here's the thing though. Like, the Switch has notoriously been known for announcing things and then it coming out months later, right?
Right.
And Breath of the Wild 2 has been announced for some time and we still don't have it. I could easily see them saying, we have a new Mario Kart game, it's coming out with the Switch Pro. I can fucking see them doing that.
No, because
they did that with Mario.
No, but
fucking Smash Bros.
But here's the thing though. Here's the thing. We're getting a brand new Mario Golf game in June. It's because I don't think they're going to push Mario too heavily in the year of Zelda. I don't think they're going to do that. I don't see it happening.
That's such a game to make people buy a console though.
I mean, but so is Breath of the Wild 2. I mean, look at what Breath of the Wild did for the Switch. I mean, it's the high. I mean, that game sold like what, 15 million copies. I mean, the attach rate when that game launched was like 1-to-1 with the Switch. Like everybody fucking owned Breath of the Wild when the Switch launched, and I refuse to believe.
And somebody in chat makes a good point. Pokemon's coming out,
but that's not coming out.
So they don't.
But those are remakes, and Arceus is not. Pokemon Legends is not coming out until next January. So that's a 2022 game. Diamond and Pearl are remakes of DS games, and those are coming out in November. I think an early September release for the Switch Pro and Breath of the Wild 2 spaces those far apart enough. It gives you your big fucking tentpole first-party game to push those Switch Pro sales, and you are able to space it out enough away from Diamond and Pearl, which are great. Like those are great games, but they're also remakes. They're remakes.
I could
of
also
older games.
see them doing like a Smash pack with all the characters in it.
To push the Switch Pro though?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. Because I mean Smash is what, 2 years old? Like I don't see them pushing the Switch Pro with anything that's been already released. I just don't. I don't think they're going to do that.
I don't think Breath of the Wild's happening.
I do. I think it might.
Jeff,
go Jeff.
Nintendo
Yeah,
talk,
please.
Because there's one more topic I really wanted to hit quickly before we wrap up here. I know we're.
Oh shit! Yeah, we're hitting the mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good conversation.
Yeah. So the last one, the one I just want to touch on because I think it's really interesting. We had our good friend Sissy Jones on the show. I think it was last year, earlier this year. We
this is good.
talked a little about the Firewatch movie, but obviously she's a VA. And we just had a little chat about like what it feels like, video game voice. There's so many video game movie adaptations and TV adaptations and stuff like that. And they always have to cast the TV actors and the movie actors, like the game.
It was a
voice
really good
actors always have to
conversation.
pass
Yeah, it
on their
was.
characters to someone else. So I thought it was really cool. This is from the Hollywood Reporter. That Merle Dandridge, who voiced Marlene in the original Last of Us game and Last of Us 2, will actually play Marlene
That's so
in the
cool.
HBO series.
That's so fucking
which
cool.
is I don't know, like I could be wrong. I do not ever remember an instance of any actor from a video game getting to actually reprise their role in a TV or movie adaptation to date.
I never
do not remember
played,
one,
so
if it has happened.
Oh, so I agree with, like, I neither can think of, I think this is the first time this has happened, Jeff, like an actual voice actor in a game playing that same character in a live action role. So that is so cool. And hopefully this sets a really cool, like, they're making a Firewatch movie. Put Sissy in it. Like, she's fucking Delilah. Like, I mean,
there's no reason she couldn't be Delilah.
I mean,
Absolutely.
it's just, it doesn't make any fucking sense to me.
Yeah.
But we are going to start logging off here. There is kind of a cool announcement that I want to drop on everybody. I'm going to become involved with StackUp.org, which is a gaming organization that does advocacy work for veterans' mental health and other such things.
cool.
And I am getting HIPAA certified as a suicide prevention counselor, and that is the work that I'm going to be doing with them.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I will be doing that for them.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Have a,
Like, not even for them, but for you. That's a good outlet to have.
I think so. I mean, I've got an intimate history with things like this. And so I think that this this might help me do some good.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I am going to be, in fact, I've got a second meeting with them tomorrow afternoon.
That's awesome.
I'll be doing that. They're going to HIPAA certify me, and there's a bunch of training and everything. So yeah, pretty cool stuff.
That is cool.
Of course, E3 is coming up, and as we do every year when there is an E3, we stream all of it, so you can expect all those good SDGC streams. And we're going to stream as much as we can. I know we're going to do Square Enix and Microsoft, whatever Sony does, the Capcom stuff we'll do. I'm sure we'll do Ubisoft is going to do their thing. I mean, there's going to be a bunch of stuff. It's going to be a busy 2 weeks for us. It's going to be a busy 2 weeks. You're going to see a lot more content from us, which we're really looking forward to. And June is going to be a big month for us as well. Because, well, let's just say that we'll be whole again by the end of June. The podcast will be whole once again. I will leave you in chat to determine what I mean by that. But anyway, does Britt and Jeff, do you got anything else to drop before we get out of here?
I don't think so.
No, Jeff, you?
Mm-mm.
No. All right. Well, if
I want to get my food,
you want to get your food, what are you getting?
You get your chicken nugs?
Are you getting you some nugs? Some nuggies?
Yeah.
When I mean, honestly, chat, like when I say that the podcast will be whole once again, like what could I possibly be referring to? Like I don't know. I guess it's a mystery. You'll have to wait and find out, I suppose.
Somebody play that link.
But
it is a mystery.
It's a mystery. Yeah, who knows? Maybe some detectives in chat can figure it out. We'll see. But at any rate, or rewrite history, chat. We're going to get out of here. Remember, drop us a like on SoundCloud, on Spotify, and anywhere else. All major podcast services you can find our shows on. Of course, if you're not already following us here on Twitch, please do so. John's son will be a permanent member. That's the big surprise. Yeah, you got it. Like he's gonna join, and then he's going to snuff me out on stream and do a violent takeover of the podcast. He's actually listening right now, so son, don't get any ideas. Okay, you are actually.
Oh, is he?
He listens every Thursday. Son, you're not going to be a member.
Oh.
You're not going to be a member. Sorry. I love you, bud, but you're not ready for that yet. Your time will come. Besides, I never want you to be a streamer, son. Don't ever do that. Do not ever be a streamer, please. Jesus Christ, I can't fucking handle that.
Sound advice.
But anyway, we will go ahead and get out of here. There's a Discord link right there in the chat. If you want to join our community of 300 and growing, we would love to have you there. Follow us on Twitter at official SDGC. We got our Patreon right down there. Whenever conventions happen again, your generous donations help us get to those conventions and provide you all the content we know you love. And with that, if nobody has anything else, remember, kindness costs nothing. We love you all, and we will see you next week.